Hi, folks. Ooh, we got the theme tune. Let's get our music going. Should be live streaming on Twitch, on YouTube, and hopefully X soon as well. I'm going to just get Telegram started too. Ever so slightly early today, but that's okay. Yeah, there we go. Share screen rather, and just make sure X is the one I usually like to make sure it's definitely live because it records the streams very nicely in the back end for me. See. Yep, we're live there. Should be. Hang on. Let's just double check that. Yep, it says we're live. We'll make sure. Let's just double check that. Yep, it says we're live. We'll make sure. Let's just double check that. And of course, PumpFun. Apologies for the first few minutes there. We'll have crazy echo because of the usual PumpFun issue. And see, we're live. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. We're live everywhere. Welcome everybody back for day 60. So this is yeah, I think it's another substantial milestone, hitting that 60 days since the launch of the Upscalp token. And just as I say that, I noticed that I saw some buys in the group and we're back up to 42k. Great. So yeah, I'm still at a very, very good position relative to say like the bonding, which was like 32k or something. So like we're still well above that. Really, really great to see, and making sure that we get the people who are buying into the premium holders group so that we can share the bot information with them, get them first access to Upscalp API when it's ready, and also the main reason I guess at the minute for getting into the premium holders group is because there's been some really, really great discussions in there. So I really appreciate all of the ideas that are coming from our premium holders, the discussions that are happening in there at the moment, and really, really good ideas for potential ways to expand what Upscalp offers and to drive adoption for it. Really, really good stuff and deep discussions. So lots of people contributing to them, and I really appreciate that too. Really, really helpful to get many, many different viewpoints, which is pretty cool. Phil, I see you typing. I just hope, yeah, my microphone is on, right? I've done that before, unfortunately. Did a 34-minute stream where my microphone stuff. No, good. Okay, thanks, Phil. Appreciate it. So just as just the daily catch up will probably be about like 10-15 minutes like usual, because there isn't a huge amount to talk about really. The things that I've done since yesterday, plowing ahead with the academic research stream of Upscalp. What that basically is when I began Upscalp September last year, started building it, I was doing a lot of the research manually myself. So I was looking at academic journals and other sources for industry best practice about futures trading, and then taking that knowledge and applying it to the product that I was building. And then when I started getting into agentic development last November or so, October, November, which I did a live stream about on Saturday, I started to automate that process. So now what I have is my AI agents do the research for me, identify potential good sources of information or ideas, then I vet them. So like manually myself, I'm still checking out the ideas and the concepts. We test them, we test counterfactuals of the ideas. In other words, the opposite. If the opposite of the idea was true, what would be the effect? Try and build up a bigger picture of if it's something that we want to integrate into the product, and then build it if it is. So that's what I was doing today. And in particular, I'm always looking for ways to break the agents out of their routine. So you will find with the flavors or personalities of agents, like say like Codex or Opus from Anthropic, that they do tend to get bogged down in their own little ways of thinking. They definitely get bogged down in circular logic based on their personalities, and it becomes a bit of a closed system. And when you're inside a closed system, it's very hard to introduce new ideas into that closed system. So what I like to do is, well, one little trick is just getting the different types of agents to work with themselves. So for example, Opus 4.6 from Anthropic and GPT 5.4 from OpenAI. So try to combine the two of them working together as a team, and just their totally different working methodologies and personalities. So, for example, Codex GPT 5.4 is a workhorse, incredibly hardworking. I'm just looking, I've set out a task there a few hours ago and it's still working. I'm just gonna, how long is this going? I'm just checking it. 1 hour and 43 minutes. That's incredible. So I set like a list of work, like a long list of tasks for it to do. And 1 hour and 43 minutes later, it's still working at it. The downsides of it is it's quite dull and uninspired. So it's very, very functional. A real workhorse can plow through a list of tasks, but it has very little creativity. Whereas on the other hand, Opus 4.6 is creative, a very, very good researcher, but really, really lazy, extremely lazy, and very prone to hallucination at the moment. And I think, unfortunately, that's increased. And there's a lot of discussion on X and on Reddit about this topic at the moment in benchmarking tests, basically used to judge the quality and performance of a tool. The benchmarking tests for 4.6 at the moment, Opus 4.6, have degraded pretty substantially from where they were when it launched, for example. And a bit further back, yeah, even say in the last few weeks, like a month ago, it was performing much better. But so what I was doing today was trying to get Opus 4.6 to do the research tasks that I was setting. And so I was giving it areas to research and letting it begin the research task. You can ask it to recheck its own work and it'll go in circles. It'll continue to find issues. But really what I want to do with that is hand it over to GPT 5.4 then, who is much more rigorous and the workhorse kind of style of working, just grinds out the work. So I give the preliminary research to 5.4 and tell it to validate and verify everything using the role specifications I built and the personas that I built. And this combination works pretty well. So you got the inspired but unreliable Opus 4.6, a little bit lazy, makes things up, versus the really functional 5.4, GPT 5.4. That's like your very, very reliable but slightly dull colleague. And the combination of the two works very, very well, and I've applied it a lot in Upscalp. But beyond that, then I've really been looking for ways to break out of even that routine that those two agents have. So I do try different models. I do try different add-ons for these tools as well. Just anything that can give a different spin on how we're looking at the data, how we're looking at the research information that we find in academic journals and so on, how we can apply that in a different way to stop doing the same thing over and over again within a closed system. So it's tricky work because, and again, this is why the humans are not going to get replaced by this anytime soon, because the AIs are not able to do this themselves. But us, with our much better long-term memory ability, our much better creativity ability, are still able to see where the AI agents are getting sucked into these closed system loops and unable to break out of them. So I think, like, as a solo developer here, basically being a product owner working, or a product manager working with a team of sometimes hardworking, sometimes dumb developers and quality assurance engineers and researchers, this is where the value of the human comes in for kind of keeping the show on the road. And as we talked about on Saturday, this is the part that the human in the loop has to be very, very careful about, because it can be very fatiguing to be the long-term memory and constantly watching out for errors and for rabbit holes, is how I was describing it on Saturday, that the AI agents do tend to get stuck in loops, burying down into individual elements of a task rather than completing the task. So yeah, that's where I'm at today, really, with the development side. Apart from that, I joined the Coliseum Hackathon. Oops, that's not the one. It's this instead. The Coliseum Hackathon Discord server, and posted about Upscalp there. I actually saved this because I was pretty happy with how I described it here. So this is just, I've added that to the Coliseum, to the show and tell, and you can see that people are commenting on it, which is really cool. Was there anything else I was working on today? again, I was just very, very busy in real life as well. So with the other works that I do, the other work that I do in projects, so it's like mostly just setting tasks for my AI agents to go away and do because I had way too much to be doing myself. So I may look at changing the check-in time of this, because usually when it's like this particular time, I don't have a gap between the other work that I'm doing and this work to be able to say, here's everything I'm going to talk about today. But apart from that, progressing very well. I would say no go again for Upscalp API beta launch. We said we would do that every day, go, no go. So we're still on no go, but I'm very happy with the progress again. I think it's going very, very well. It's just that 1%, where I'd say like the 98, 99% of being happy with it. And it's just getting that 1% over the line, because it has to be as close to perfect as possible. Really, this Upscalp API product launch will be where the reputation of the project is really built. So it has to be as rock solid, Loctite as possible, because we need it to be absolutely excellent from the beginning and for all users from the beginning. So yeah, definitely pushing still on that to make sure that I provide you with something that's really, really excellent when you first get to see it. Grand, so there isn't really that much more to speak about today. I just usually like to cycle through the live streams and see is there any questions. So look at this, more spammers. Come on, PumpFun, get your shit together. It seems to be that there are all these bots that are triggered by the live stream. As soon as you go live, they start posting this crap on all of the pages. Phil, yeah, sorry, you have a question. Telegram. Are the signals created using agents, or is it a secret formula you have? So no to both is the answer. So first of all, no. So there are no AI or agentic elements inside the actual live product, for a very, very good reason, which is, as I was describing, the laziness and the hallucination that these agents often have. They are deeply unreliable at the moment for long-term tasks. So they're really, really good in bursts. They're really, really good when you have a human in the loop who can keep them on track. That's what I do. And who can observe when they're doing something absolutely ridiculous. You need the human still in the loop to see that. But as we've seen with OpenClaw, for example, just letting AI agents run loose in a product can be an absolute disaster. And we've seen with OpenClaw all of the stories of OpenClaw agents wiping email inboxes, completely wiping hard drives, all of these kind of things, just because they became a bit chaotic. They lost control of their purpose, and generally this is like context degradation. You can establish the frame that you want these agents to work in, but they will forget it. It's an absolute guarantee. And it's just because the amount of memory they have is very limited, and it's going to remain limited for a long time, because all of the experiments at increasing that memory, the amount or the length of memory that they have, vastly reduces the performance of the agents. So it's still a conundrum. So no, I won't be adding AI into the product for a long time, I think, because I think it's just too uncontrollable. And the second part, is it a secret formula? Also no. It's all based on just hard work, really. So it's information that's in the public domain. Generally, when I'm looking at academic journals about futures trading and looking at journal papers or industry sources, this is all public information. So it's open source. And there's mountains of it out there. Anyone could, I guess anyone who has an engineering background and the determination to do it like I did could do it as well. And if they built, especially like the agent team, to help them with the research side and push on with that, this isn't top secret stuff. But what I would say is, what is secret is how I've implemented it, like specifically how I've used this open source public information to function in the back end. And then very, very importantly, all of the data that the bot collects. So that like reservoir of data, that library of data that powers the decisions of the product, that is secret. Yes, that's like the intellectual property. So those two aspects are the two bits that I can't make public. But I could share some of the research papers that I've based the product on. Absolutely, I have a bunch of them saved, and I'm constantly looking for new research every single day, really, and applying it to where possible. But yeah, so I would say it's not a secret formula. It's based on public open source information. What is the secret is the way that I've used that publicly available information. And then the data that the processes have generated, that's also secret. So, Phil, I hope that answers your question. Let's just see, is there any other questions? I'll take a look at X. No questions there. Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it. Nothing there. And let's see. Grant, nothing else, I think, on the other socials for now. So, with that, I will probably wrap it up for today. That's about the 15-minute mark. We usually do about like 15-minute update every day. I don't have anything to deploy today, so I'm not going to deploy anything live on screen or anything like that. Generally, it's just hard work, lots and lots of hard work. I'm hoping to hear back from the first grant application by the end of this week, I hope. So this is through this platform, Super Team Earn platform. So like I applied for this grant. Let's see. They said it takes about a week. So that's just a very, very small one, but just for the heck of it. And I'll be applying for other grants on this site as well. So yeah, that's it, I think. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to say thanks very much for tuning in, and for the people who watch the recordings. We'll be back again tomorrow, as always, with more updates about development, marketing, grants, socializing Upscalp, and all of the great ideas that the Upscalp Premium Holders Group are providing me with that I really appreciate. So talk to you again tomorrow. Have a really